The sky turns dark. The morning started like any other. People walked to work, children went to school, and the skies above Earth looked calm. But at noon, everything changed. It began with a shadow, first small, then growing larger across the sky. People thought it was a storm at first, a wall of clouds gathering too quickly. But then the sun dimmed in a way no cloud could cause, and fear spread. News channels broke their programs with emergency alerts. Strange shapes were seen above the clouds, round, massive, and glowing with alien lights. People rushed out of buildings, staring upward in silence, their mouths open in shock. The alien fleet had arrived, from orbit. The ships looked like mountains of metal, each one larger than cities. They hung above Earth like a second sky, their surfaces lined with weapons, their engines burning with strange blue fire. Birds scattered, planes were grounded. The world stood frozen. A single voice came through every broadcast, every phone, every speaker. The alien message, humans of Earth. The voice echoed, cold and sharp, submit or be destroyed. Children screamed, parents held them close. Soldiers readied weapons they knew would not matter, and governments sent coded messages to each other, asking what to do. But Earth did not answer, not right away. The aliens waited, watching, their ships blocking sunlight, casting entire cities into darkness. Crops wilted in the sudden cold, animals howled in panic, and humanity's silence grew heavier. Around the world, people asked the same question: why is no one speaking back? In Washington, the president sat with generals in a locked room, their faces pale, their hands shaking. They argued whether to respond, to surrender, or to resist, but none of them picked up the microphone. In Moscow, in Beijing, in London, the story was the same. Leaders frozen in silence. The aliens thought it was fear, and the galaxy agreed. Watching through hidden channels and recordings, they whispered that humanity would fall like so many before them. But deep beneath the oceans, under the ice of Antarctica, and inside mountains hollowed long ago, something stirred. Old lights flickered back on. Engines hummed. Machines built in secret began to wake. Humanity was not panicking. They were preparing. On the surface, ordinary people lit candles, held hands, and whispered prayers, not knowing that under their feet, a hidden power was rising. The aliens sent a second message, this time louder, their voice filled with anger. You have 1 day to surrender, Earth, or we will burn your world. The fleet moved closer, their massive shadows swallowing oceans and continents. Children cried as daylight vanished. Parents whispered stories of hope, but their eyes showed terror. Astronomers in observatories recorded the ships, their voices breaking as they spoke live on broadcasts. They are bigger than anything we have ever seen, one scientist whispered. If they fire, Earth cannot survive. Yet still, humanity remained silent. In secret bunkers, soldiers moved crates marked with strange symbols, weapons not seen by the public, machines covered with tarps, sealed away for decades. Engineers whispered to each other, their eyes wide with both fear and pride. It is time, they said. Time to wake them. The galaxy continued to watch, many species tuning in, convinced this was the end of humanity. Traders bet credits on how fast Earth would fall. Warlords laughed, and diplomats shook their heads. But in hidden places, some few aliens grew nervous. They remembered whispers, old stories about humans, stories of a war long ago, stories no one believed anymore. And then came the silence before the storm. On the streets of New York, silence. In the markets of Delhi, silence. Across deserts, forests, and seas, silence. A world holding its breath. Above it all, the alien fleet moved, 100 ships like iron giants in the sky, weapons pointed downward, ready to erase a planet. But Earth did not bow. Earth waited. Earth prepared. And as night fell, the world beneath the dark sky whispered one thought, carried in the hearts of billions. If they want war, humanity thought, they will see what war truly means. The aliens could not hear it, not yet, but they soon would. The sky was dark. The world was afraid, but in the silence, something powerful was waking. Something that would shake the galaxy. Silent preparations. The world above the ground saw fear, chaos, and confusion. But beneath the surface, in places hidden for decades, humanity was not panicking. Humanity was working. Deep under the Rocky Mountains, a door made of steel thicker than battleship armor opened for the first time in 40 years. Inside, tunnels lit up with cold white light. Soldiers marched down polished corridors, their boots echoing against the floor. Technicians carried tablets and wires, their voices steady though their hands shook. "This is not a drill," a commander said, his voice firm. "This is the day we trained for." In the Pacific Ocean, far below the waves, enormous shapes began to move. Submarines the size of skyscrapers, sleeping for generations, now powered up, their engines humming like thunder. The water above them rippled as they stirred. On the icy continent of Antarctica, a glacier cracked, ancient ice splitting apart as something enormous rose beneath it. A tower of black metal, jagged and alien to human eyes yet built by human hands. Steam hissed from vents. Lights glowed red in the frozen dark. Humanity had hidden its strength not in pride, but in patience. They knew the day would come. The day when someone in the galaxy would test Earth. Now that day had arrived. On the streets, the people did not know the details, but whispers spread. Soldiers moved with purpose. Convoys of trucks thundered down highways, carrying sealed containers under heavy guard. News drones captured blurry images, asking questions the leaders refused to answer. In the command room beneath Washington, the president stood before a wall of screens, each one showing a different location. The oceans, the mountains, the poles, secret bases that did not exist on any map. Generals spoke in quick bursts, codes, numbers, and words that made no sense to civilians. But one phrase repeated again and again. All systems waking. Above, the alien fleet grew restless, their patience thinning, their weapons charged. Their voices broadcast across the skies again. Earth, surrender or burn. But Earth stayed quiet. Not one human leader raised their voice. Not one government answered. Across the galaxy, the watching species whispered to each other, their voices filled with both scorn and confusion. "Why do humans not beg?" they asked. "Why do they not cry for mercy?" Some laughed, others shook their heads, and a few, the oldest and wisest, grew very afraid. In a hangar buried under Tokyo, engineers worked on something long believed a myth. A machine with wings sharper than blades, its engines glowing a strange silver light. A pilot climbed inside, her helmet sealing with a hiss. "This will either save us or end us," she whispered, and the hangar shook as the engines roared to life. Families around the world sat in their homes glued to screens. Children asked their parents what would happen. And parents lied with gentle smiles, saying everything would be fine, though their hearts trembled. But somewhere deep inside, the people felt something else, a strange calm, as if the silence of their leaders meant more than fear, as if Earth was not helpless at all. The aliens began to fire warning shots. Beams of energy streaked across the sky, destroying satellites, scorching the upper atmosphere. Lightning storms formed from the heat. Thunder cracked across continents. The world shook. Still no answer. In hidden control rooms, countdowns began, numbers flashing across screens, soldiers strapped into chairs, and commanders checked final seals. "We are ready," they whispered. Almost ready. The galaxy held its breath, streams of live footage spreading from one system to another, alien traders stopping in their tracks, soldiers of other empires pausing their drills, rulers leaning forward in their thrones, all watching the same thing. Earth, silent, dark, and waiting. In the underground labs of Geneva, scientists worked beside weapons that glowed with energy stolen from stars. They spoke in calm voices, their faces pale, but their eyes fierce. "If they want a war," one whispered, "we will give them a war they will never forget." Above, the alien fleet drew closer, their shadows now stretching across entire countries, ships so large that mountains looked like pebbles below them. Their leaders sneered, convinced that victory was close. But in the silence of Earth, the truth was hidden. A storm was coming, one the galaxy had never seen. And as midnight approached, with the alien fleet tightening its circle, humanity whispered together as if with one voice. We are not weak. We are not prey. We are ready. The aliens thought Earth was silent because of fear. But in reality, Earth was silent because of preparation. The sky was still dark, the fleet still waiting. But beneath that silence, the greatest surprise of the galaxy was almost ready to rise. The first strike. The alien fleet circled Earth like a predator, their ships glowing with weapons charged and ready. The sky was split with streaks of light, their cannons firing into orbit, destroying satellites, burning stations, sending debris, falling toward the planet. People on the ground screamed as the heavens seemed to break apart. Flaming metal rained down. The world thought this was the end, but still Earth's leaders gave no reply. In the alien command vessel, high above the planet, the invader commander sneered, his claws tapping against a console. They do nothing, he hissed. Weak creatures, let us finish them. His officers nodded, eager for blood, but at that moment something unexpected happened. Above the Pacific Ocean, a blinding beam of light cut through the dark sky. It did not come from the alien ships, it came from Earth. The beam was thin at first, then grew wider, brighter, and hotter, like a piece of the sun pulled from the stars. It struck one of the alien warships, a vessel the size of a mountain, and tore it in half in seconds. The galaxy gasped. Every viewer watching the live stream froze for the first time in the invasion. It was not humanity that burned. It was the aliens. On Earth, the ground shook as ancient weapons fired again. Hidden cannons deep beneath deserts and oceans released, bolts of energy too fast for the eye to follow. Alien ships shattered one after another, their wreckage burning as it fell into the sea. In New York, in Beijing, in Lagos, people looked up and saw the impossible. The invaders who had come to destroy them were being destroyed instead. The alien commander roared in anger, his ship vibrating as alarms screamed across the bridge. Impossible, he shouted. They were not supposed to have this power. But the truth was there, clear and terrible. Earth had been waiting. From under the Arctic ice, missiles shot upward like arrows of fire. They split the sky and curved toward their targets, piercing the bellies of alien destroyers. Explosions lit up the night and fire rained down on the fleet. The galaxy had thought Earth was silent out of fear, but now they saw the truth. Earth was silent out of choice. In a hidden base beneath South America, soldiers cheered as their screens lit up with kill counts, voices echoing in narrow halls. We hit them, one cried. We hit them hard. In the alien fleet, panic spread. Ships swerved, their captains shouting for reinforcements, but no help came. This was not a battle they had prepared for. This was a trap, and they had walked straight into it. On the surface, humanity's silence finally broke, not with words, but with fire. A third beam of light, brighter than the first two, ripped across the sky, striking the alien flagship's shields. The shield shimmered, cracked, and then collapsed like glass. For the first time in centuries, the invaders knew fear. Across the galaxy, alien rulers leaned closer to their screens. Soldiers in other armies stood frozen. Even the warlords who had laughed at Earth now fell quiet. Humans are not prey, they whispered. They are predators. In the hidden hangar of Tokyo, the silver-winged machine launched. Its engines roared like a star trapped inside. It shot into the sky with a trail of white fire, weaving between alien ships, striking them with weapons that melted armor like wax. The pilot inside clenched her fists, her voice calm. For Earth, she whispered, and the galaxy heard her. Voice carried across intercepted broadcasts. The alien fleet tried to regroup, their cannons firing in every direction, but their precision was gone. Fear had broken their discipline, and the humans pressed harder. Under the Atlantic Ocean, a hatch opened, and a vessel unlike any other rose, a warship black as night, its edges sharp like a blade, its guns glowing red. It fired once, and 3 alien ships vanished in a storm of fire. On the ground, the people of Earth felt something new, not just fear, but hope. Children stopped crying. Parents looked upward with awe. Strangers held each other and whispered, "We can win." The galaxy trembled, because they knew what it meant. If Earth could resist a fleet this size, if Earth could destroy warships thought invincible, then humanity was not just another world. Humanity was a threat. The first strike had been made, and it had shaken the galaxy. The alien commander stared at the burning wreckage of his ships, his voice low. "This was supposed to be easy," he said. "But they are not easy prey." His officers avoided his gaze, their eyes wide with fear. Earth had been patient, Earth had been silent, and now, Earth had struck. The invasion was no longer a conquest, it was a war, and for the first time, the galaxy wondered who would survive. The Hidden Fleet awakens. The first strike had torn holes in the alien fleet. Their mighty ships burned in Earth's skies. But this was only the beginning. The real surprise had not yet come. Beneath the oceans, silence gave way to thunder. Something ancient and enormous began to move. The sea churned with waves taller than buildings, fish scattered, and the water glowed with strange light. From the depths, a giant shape rose, black metal breaking through the surface, dripping with water and steam. It was not a submarine. It was not a ship of Earth's navy. It was something else entirely. The world watched in shock as the first of the Shadow Fleet rose from the Pacific, its hull carved with old scars, its guns glowing like molten stars. In Antarctica, the glacier split open, a mountain of ice collapsing as a warship clawed its way free. It had slept for centuries under the frozen wastes, its hull covered in frost, but its engines burned hot with new life. And under the deserts of Africa, a hangar door the size of a city cracked open, sand blasting into the air as engines roared. A fleet of black warships climbed into the sky, their wings sharp, their cannons glowing red. The people of Earth gasped. Crowds fell silent in the streets as screens across the world showed what was rising. These were not weapons anyone had known, existed, not armies built for show. These were monsters of steel and fire, forged for the day Earth would be tested. The alien commander's jaw fell open as the readings filled his consoles. Dozens, then hundreds of ships, each one massive, each one armed, with weapons the galaxy had forbidden. "This is impossible," he shouted. "No species could hide this." But Earth had, for centuries, humanity had whispered about secret projects, rumors of weapons hidden in the shadows of history. The truth was now clear. The rumors had been real. Earth had built its true fleet in silence, out of sight, out of memory, waiting for this day. The Shadow Fleet rose higher, engines roaring like thunder, their black hulls reflecting fire from the burning wreckage above. Commanders inside their bridges spoke with calm voices. Targets locked, shields active. We are online. Across the galaxy, fear spread like wildfire. Leaders of alien empires leaned forward in disbelief. Soldiers watching broadcasts dropped their weapons in silence. Traitors whispered to each other. "If this is what humans kept hidden," they said, "what else do they have?" On Earth, hope turned into awe. Crowds in New Delhi cheered as screens showed the warships climbing into orbit. People in Sao Paulo wept, their voices shouting, "Fight for us." Children pointed to the skies, no longer afraid, but proud. The alien fleet opened fire in panic. Beams of energy streaked toward the rising human ships. But the Shadow Fleet did not crumble. Shields shimmered blue, absorbing the blasts. Engines flared brighter, and then the human guns answered. The first volley struck like a storm. Red fire tore across the alien fleet. Ships exploded in brilliant flashes, their debris spinning helplessly into the void. The invaders screamed across their channels, their discipline breaking. "They are not supposed to be this strong." One alien cried, his voice cut short as his ship shattered. In the command centers hidden around the world, generals smiled grimly, their eyes locked on glowing screens. "Let the galaxy watch," one said. "Let them see who we are." The Shadow Fleet pushed upward, forming a wall of steel around Earth. Black ships in perfect formation, their guns trained on the invaders. No longer was Earth a prey world hiding in fear. Now Earth was a fortress, awake and alive. The alien commander clutched the edge of his console, his hands trembling. "Pull back," he hissed to his officers. "Regroup." But deep inside, he knew the truth. They had already lost the advantage. Across the galaxy, silence ruled. The proudest empires, the fiercest warlords, even the oldest races of the stars all stared at the same vision. Earth was not weak. Earth was not defenseless. Earth had been waiting. And as the last of the Shadow Fleet climbed into orbit, engines blazing like suns, the world below whispered in one voice, "We are not afraid." The galaxy would never forget what it saw that day. Humanity's hidden fleet rising from the shadows. The invasion had begun as a hunt, but now it had become something else. A war the galaxy itself would tremble to watch. Humanity's fury. The Shadow Fleet rose above Earth, black silhouettes glowing with fire against the stars, their guns burning with power no one in the galaxy believed humans possessed. For a moment there was silence, then the storm began. The first wave of human warships opened fire. Beams of red and white light slashed across space, cutting through the alien fleet. Ships that had once been feared across the galaxy shattered like glass, their hulls breaking apart, their screams lost in the void. The people of Earth cheered, their fear replaced with awe. Screens in every city showed the impossible, humanity not only surviving but winning. In the command bridge of the lead human dreadnought, Admiral Kessler stood tall, his eyes locked on the enemy fleet. "Push forward," he said, his voice calm and steady. "Show them what Earth is." The Shadow Fleet moved in perfect formation, their ships circling like predators, striking with speed and precision. The alien vessels tried to regroup, but every move they made was countered. Their formations broken, their lines destroyed. The alien commander screamed orders, but his officers' voices trembled. "They are everywhere," one shouted. "They fight like no other race." Another cried, "We cannot hold." Before his ship vanished in a flash of fire, human warships advanced without mercy, each shot calculated, each strike final. They did not waste fire. They did not hesitate. They fought not as prey defending itself, but as hunters proving dominance. In the deserts of Earth, hidden launch sites roared to life. Missiles soared upward, splitting into dozens of warheads, weaving through alien defenses. Ships exploded across the sky as the missiles found their marks. The galaxy watched in silence, their pride crumbling, their illusions shattered. "This is not survival," one alien diplomat whispered to another. "This is fury." On the ground, the people of Earth rose together, voices shouting in unity. Chants of fight and stand shook the streets. Even those who had feared the worst now stood proud, their tears replaced with fire in their eyes. The alien fleet tried one last desperate counterstrike, hundreds of their cannons blazing together. A storm of light rushed toward the Shadow Fleet. But the humans had prepared for this. Shields rippled, absorbed the fire, and then the human fleet answered back with a storm of its own. One by one, alien ships went dark, their engines failing, their hulls splitting apart, entire cruisers torn to shreds, their fragments burning as they fell toward Earth's oceans. In hidden bunkers across the planet, generals exchanged grim nods, their voices quiet. "Let the galaxy see this," one said. "Let them understand." In orbit, the war turned into a massacre. Human warships drove forward, splitting the enemy fleet apart, hunting down stragglers, firing with ruthless precision. Not a shot wasted, not a chance given. The alien commander's ship shook violently, alarms blaring, sparks raining down. He slammed his clawed hand against the console, his voice breaking. "They should not be able to do this," he hissed. "They were supposed to be weak." But the truth burned before his eyes. Humanity had never been weak. They had only been patient. Across the galaxy, silence spread. Rulers of empires leaned back in their thrones, their confidence broken. Soldiers whispered to each other, their voices filled with fear. "If this is how they fight when invaded," one said, "what will they do if they decide to attack?" The fury of Earth was not just in their ships, but in their will. Humanity fought with a rage born from survival, from centuries of hardship, from the memory of every struggle on their fragile blue world. And now, that fury was unleashed upon the stars. The alien commander watched helplessly as ship after ship of his once proud fleet was destroyed, the battlefield filled with wreckage, human warships circling like wolves around their prey. His voice fell to a whisper. The galaxy will fear them. And he was right. The battle was no longer about Earth's survival. It was about sending a message written in fire, in wreckage, in the silence of a broken fleet. Humanity had answered the invasion not with surrender, not with fear, but with fury, and that fury shook the galaxy. The message to the galaxy. The battlefield was silent, except for the drifting wreckage. Alien ships burned like dying stars, their twisted remains scattered across Earth's orbit, the proud invasion fleet reduced to fragments. Inside the command bridge of the human dreadnought Erebus, Admiral Kessler stood tall, the light of explosions reflecting in his eyes, his voice calm but sharp. "Open the channel," he said, not just to them but to all of them. Technicians nodded, fingers flying across consoles, signals spread outward, bouncing through satellites, relays, and even captured alien frequencies. The message was not private, it would be heard across the galaxy. The Admiral took a deep breath and spoke, his voice steady, powerful, and filled with the weight of every human life on Earth. "This is humanity," he said. "We did not ask for this war, but we will not kneel." His words spread like fire, carried into every alien palace, every warlord's fortress, every traitor's den. Screens across the galaxy lit up with the face of a human standing unbroken against the darkness. "You thought we were prey," the Admiral continued. "You thought our silence was fear, but you were wrong. Our silence was patience, and now you see the cost of awakening us." On Earth, people wept and cheered as his words echoed through homes, cities, and villages. Children clutched their parents, proud that their world had spoken not in whispers but in thunder. The alien commander, still alive aboard his shattered flagship, listened with trembling hands. The fury in the human's voice felt sharper than any weapon. His officers bowed their heads in shame. "We will not chase you across the stars," the Admiral said. "But hear this and hear it well. If any who watched today thinks of trying the same, if any dreams of invading us, remember what you saw. Remember the ashes of this fleet. Remember what happens when you come to Earth." The message carried weight beyond weapons. It was not a plea, it was a warning. Across the galaxy, leaders turned pale. Some ordered their fleets to stand down from exercises. Others canceled invasion plans whispered in dark rooms. A silence spread among empires that had once mocked humanity. On the ground, Earth roared with unity. Voices lifted in a wave of sound. People shouted the words together. "We will not kneel." The phrase became more than a statement. It became a promise. Admiral Kessler stood silent after his speech, the channel still open, the image of humanity's face broadcast to millions of alien eyes. He did not smile. He did not celebrate. His eyes were cold, his voice low. "Close the channel," he said. The technician hesitated. "Sir?" she asked. "Do you think they understood?" Kessler looked at the burning remains of the alien fleet, the wreckage drifting like a graveyard above Earth. "Oh, they understood," he said. In the alien homeworlds, fear took root. Children asked their parents why the humans were so strong. Leaders held secret meetings, arguing whether Earth must now be treated as an equal, or as something worse, a threat that could not be controlled. The galaxy had always thought of humans as reckless explorers, fragile beings on a fragile planet. Now they knew the truth. Earth had always been preparing, and humanity's fury was not just a defense. It was a promise of what could come if they were pushed further. The alien commander slumped in his chair, his eyes empty, his voice broken. "We woke something we should have left sleeping," he whispered. And so the message spread, not just in words, but in fear. A fear that would ripple across generations. Earth had spoken, Earth had warned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The shattered galaxy, the wreckage of the alien fleet drifted above Earth, broken metal glowing as it burned in the atmosphere. The invasion was over, but its echo was only beginning. On Earth, people filled the streets, some cheering, some crying, some silent in shock. They had survived what no one thought possible. And more than that, they had won. In the command centers buried deep underground, screens still glowed with the last of the battle reports. Kill counts scrolled, locations of destroyed ships flashed, but the generals were quiet, their faces grim. "We held the line," one whispered, "but the galaxy now knows." The message had spread faster than light. Alien rulers in their palaces replayed the human admiral's words again and again, his voice sharp in their ears. "We will not kneel." The phrase carved itself into their minds, colder than any weapon. Across distant worlds, ordinary aliens trembled. Some whispered that humanity was cursed. Others said humanity was chosen. But all agreed on one thing: no one would ever see Earth the same way again. In the great council halls of empires, debates raged. Some demanded war, others demanded peace, but none could hide their fear. "They destroyed a fleet," one ambassador said. "Not survived it, destroyed it." Another replied, "If they can do this when invaded, what will happen if they choose to invade?" Fear spread faster than fire. Armies across the galaxy canceled drills. Warlords pulled their fleets back into hiding. Old enemies signed sudden truces. The galaxy itself was shifting, shaken to its core. Back on Earth, the Shadow Fleet did not return. To the ground they remained in orbit, their black hulls circling the planet like silent guardians. Every city looked upward and felt both safe and afraid. For the first time in history, Earth was united. Nations that had once argued now stood together, their voices clear. "We are one world," they said, "and we will never kneel." The alien commander, dragged from the wreckage of his flagship, sat in silence, his eyes staring at the floor. His captors asked no questions, there was no need. He whispered the truth to himself again and again. They were waiting. They were waiting. Among the stars, the galaxy's balance broke. Power shifted. Fear turned into respect. Respect turned into dread. Empires that had stood for thousands of years now whispered the same warning to their children: do not go to Earth. And yet curiosity burned alongside the fear. Some species whispered that humanity was not just strong, but dangerous, that humans had secrets older than their sun, weapons hidden in shadows no one else could see. Stories spread faster than ships could travel, taverns filled with rumors. Traders swore they saw Earth's hidden fleet bigger than the invasion fleet itself. Smugglers told tales of weapons that could burn stars. Scholars argued whether humanity was truly from Earth or something older, something stranger. But on Earth there was no celebration of conquest, only quiet resolve. The admiral stood alone in his chamber, looking at the stars, his voice low. "They will come again," he said, "and next time, they will come prepared." The galaxy had been shattered not by destruction alone, but by revelation. Humanity was no longer a mystery. Humanity was a power. And though Earth did not seek war, the warning had been spoken, clear and eternal: we will not kneel. The galaxy would never forget.